Welcome everybody to a straight shoot, quick shoot. I'm here with Steve, and we're going to be talking Logan Paul, whether you want to call it the Logan Paul problem, the Logan Paul conundrum, the Logan Paul concept, or maybe you're on the side of the Logan Paul blessing. We are going to be talking everything to be with Logan Paul when it comes to the WWE. Steve, I think you and I are on complete opposite polar ends when it comes to Logan Paul's inclusion in the WWE. For those who are uninitiated and don't know, Logan Paul is going to be main eventing arguably one of the biggest events that WWE puts on. I know you and I aren't the biggest fans of the Saudi events, but they're huge. They're huge money drawers for the WWE, enough to move the needles on a quarter-by-quarter basis when it comes to WWE's financials. Logan Paul is main eventing that against Roman Reigns, a historic wrestler at this point that rarely makes appearances. So this is huge. Where do you stand on things as they are?
You're going to take it back one notch first, Santi, before we go into stance, because I know you think I have this complete anti-Logan Paul mentality for pro wrestling. I don't. I see his value. Okay? I see his value. My issue is it has been forced so quickly. It's not even been a build. This is not a build. This is a quick build. This is something Vince would have done. He would have brought Cain Velasquez in, and in 2 weeks, he would have been in a Saudi event. This is how it feels. Yes, it's been a 4 or 5 week thing. This is not worthy of our tribal chief. All right? This is not worthy of the head of the table. Roman Reigns, at this point in his near 800-day reign, deserves better than Logan Paul. Yes, the Saudis love this whole bring the biggest people in the world to our venue and put them on display like chimpanzees in a cage. But this is not the way to do it. This is my problem with the Logan Paul conundrum issue. It's not the way to do it. Roman deserves better. I'm just going to go with that, and then we can run our opinions on the whole. Does Logan Paul fit into what we do as content creators and what we follow as content creators? But right now, because Roman is so close to 1,000 days, we're going to look back on this in 10 years and be like, let's check off the list of people that Roman squashed, smashed, ran past. And then you're going to look at the list and you're going to go, Logan who? That's my problem.
You know, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think the idea that he's even a rival to Roman Reigns is laughable, frankly. I will not defend the decision to put him on the main event against Roman Reigns. Again, somebody who is on a historic run, somebody who is a hot commodity for WWE fans. We want to see Roman Reigns. I mean, one of the biggest WWE pay-per-views in quite a while. To be fair, WWE pay-per-views have just been filling big banger after banger after banger. We didn't have him on Extreme Rules, and that was when, you know, The Fiend returned. Yep. WWE and Roman Reigns made an agreement. I'm not going to be at Extreme Rules. I'm not going to be at house shows. So we want to see Roman Reigns, and we want to see Roman Reigns against some of the best in the business that are true viable contenders. There are people like Karrion Kross, The Fiend, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles. There's so many. There are so many that we want to see Roman Reigns go up against. All right. And matches that we haven't seen before, like Cody Rhodes most likely happening in the near future. So, you know, for the WWE to sit us fans down and try to make us swallow and believe that Roman Reigns could potentially lose to Logan Paul is, at the end of the day, laughable. So I'm with you. I do believe that this push to the stratosphere is silly. Now, if there are the hill I will die on is that Logan Paul is bad for the WWE, that he can't wrestle, that he's not a draw. That's complete bogus and complete fabricated horseshit. Logan Paul is a bigger draw than most wrestlers on the roster. Like, he just is, whether you want to admit it or not. If you think Tyson Fury is a draw, Logan Paul is that times 50 in terms of the eyeballs that he's able to bring on. But putting him in the main event with Roman Reigns, like, I'm just not on board with that. I just think that there are so many other matches that are worthy of this main event spot that we're being robbed from in exchange for WWE getting a huge paycheck. Now, whether the Logan Paul main event, whether this was a stipulation put on by the Saudi government, maybe. Whether it was a stipulation of having Logan Paul join the WWE, that's another thing. Maybe Logan's contract says, I get a WWE title shot in 2022. If that is the case, then I'm happy WWE decided to do it at an event that is, in our eyes, inconsequential, like Crown Jewel.
Let me stop you there. Are you, though? Because WWE has struggled to really get the North American fans over on the Saudi events and Crown Jewel itself. So is this actually the best play for WWE and the Saudis to make these subpar premium live events, is what they've been in North America? Because one, nobody wants to watch a pay-per-view at this time of the day. Two, the crowd's dead all the time. And three, it's just never been a good show. Like, I can't remember the last time there's actually... Okay, take away Chamber last year. Chamber last year was not horrible, but everything else has virtually been botchamania. So is this the right play for WWE to bring in, yes, a 30 million... or sorry, a 60 million eye crowd for said Logan Paul to go up against our tribal chief, the head of the table, in an event that's just not viable in our minds?
I mean, my answer is yes, it is the right play, because this event is not for us. You basically said it. Like, it is set up to not be for us. It is not at a time that is going to generate eyeballs in North America or sometimes even Europe. It's just, it is not for us. It is for a Saudi audience that clamors for nostalgia from the WWE, that clamors for personalities, that clamors for influencers, that clamors for anything and anyone that can make Saudi Arabia a destination for travel. This is the bigger picture of the Saudi government. It's not, we want to entertain our people. It's, we want to make Saudi Arabia be a place that the UFC can come, that Cirque du Soleil can come, that WWE can come to. It is much bigger than us. It is much bigger than the North American audience. It is not for us. This is purely business. This is a purely business decision on the WWE's end, because they get a huge bag, and it is purely a business decision on the part of the Saudi government, because they are bringing WWE not to appease the Saudi people, but to make the Riyadh and all of these giant cities in Saudi Arabia viable venues for major events, concerts, music festivals. That is what it is. This is not for us. It really is not. We make it about us because we're fans of the WWE and we want to watch everything that WWE does. But if you think about it, right? Like, we talked about how rushed this is. The return of Shawn Michaels is not something that happens overnight. It happened overnight out Saudi, right? Like, it happened overnight to bring back Shawn Michaels and to bring back The Undertaker, because money is the one. Money is what's making the decisions here. It is not fan influence. It is not what fans are clamoring for. It's not long-term booking, which is a big important one for us. This is purely dollars and cents, and it makes sense for both the WWE and it makes sense for both the Saudi government. It's just that dweebs like us on the internet are gonna sit here and are going to dissect everything that WWE does, but this is just not for us. It really isn't.
Okay, and I understand that. And I'm going to just be the WWE and professional wrestling mark right now. And if anybody saw my recent TikTok when it came to the AEW side of things, and Paige Van Sant, okay, she put out a video saying, you know what really drives me crazy? And I threw something up about, you know what, you had one match, took a lot of people's spotlight. And that was a massive shoot on my part. And I'm going to shoot again. There are so many people, like you named at the start, Karrion Kross, Drew McIntyre, The Fiend, Cody Rhodes, even though he's injured. We could even go Finn Balor. And this is a huge shout. If they could have booked it right, I would have taken Dominic Mysterio in Saudi. At least he's a wrestler, and this is what he wants to do with his life. Logan Paul has had 2 matches, one decent, one average. Cool, the kid can do a backflip off the top rope and land it, and he can do the 3 amigos and disrespect Eddie Guerrero. The kid's an entertainer. I get it. But at the end of the day, you and I are fans of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. And yes, I know you're going to cut me off on that and say sports entertainment, and you can hit me in a second. But we are fans of this business, and we watch all these people get pushed aside because these celebrities come in. And we've had celebrities come in since WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 3, and have their show. But it's not that I don't like Logan Paul. His content is fantastic. Impulsive, the podcast, is something that you and I have worked to kind of build somewhat of our brand kind of off of. But what I'm saying is, he is not a pro wrestler, and he does not deserve this. I'm going to be that mark right now. I'm going to talk jealousy for all the wrestlers in the back that want this position. Why does Logan Paul deserve it compared to everyone else?
Yeah, and if this was Backlash, if this was King of the Ring, if this was any other event, I'd be waving that flag with you. This, I'm gonna continue to hark back on this. You and I don't matter here. The wrestling North American community don't matter here. You are not gonna put dollars into the Saudi economy. Neither am I. Neither are most people that are on this half of the world. This is a dollars and cents decision to try and bring money into the Saudi economy, to diversify it so it's not just an oil rich country. It's got diversification. Now, when you say, Logan Paul doesn't deserve it, like when you put it in the context of what the end goal is for both parties here, the WWE and the Saudi royal government, it does make sense. And Logan Paul is the better choice and is more deserving because it aligns more with the end goal business decision of what both entities are trying to accomplish. If this was a Backlash, any other event, the end goal is long-term storytelling, keeping our fans happy, merchandise sales, TV deals, right? What is the long-term goal of this Saudi event? There isn't one. The long-term goal of this Saudi event starts and ends on that night. It doesn't go beyond that night. So the end goal is to make as much money, to make as much buzz in that one night so that the world hears about Saudi Arabia and Riyadh as a viable venue. So who is the most deserving person that aligns with that business model? It's not Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not Finn Balor. It's not AJ Styles. It would be The Rock. It would be John Cena. It would be Logan Paul. People that bring eyes and names. It's just because it aligns with the end goal of this event. Any other pay-per-view, I'm with you because the end goal and what is trying to be accomplished is completely different. I really just think that we are comparing apples and oranges, and what some people are doing is rather than comparing apples and oranges, they're comparing it fruits in general and trying to lump all fruits together when we have very different end goals and honestly very different products.
Now, let me throw one more thing at you before we go to the end of this. Logan's recent comments about Jake Paul. And he was asked, do you see you and Jake in the WWE, or Jake himself in the WWE doing his thing as well? Are we looking at Jake Paul
100%.
in Saudi Arabia, or are we looking at Jake Paul and Logan in a bloodline feud? I know that sounds ridiculous to everyone listening to this right now, but we're not far from it.
I'm willing to put $100 that Jake Paul makes an appearance at the Saudi event. Like, I am so dead certain that Jake Paul is going to make an appearance at this. My original thought was KSI because he's business partners with KSI, and Logan has been coming out with the Prime Energy drink, but just the continuous name drops of Jake Paul is it's almost kind of inevitable, right? And it's like a week after his big fight with Anderson Silva. I think I might have my dates wrong, but I think it's like a week after, right? So Jake Paul's name is gonna be buzzing in the world. Like, if I am the royal Saudi family and I want to make a buzz, I'm going to do it with the Paul brothers. There are, especially the one who just had a fight, win or lose, with Anderson Silva. I want him on my show. Again, will this lead to long-term storytelling? Well, Steve, the return of DX and the Brothers of Destruction would, under normal circumstances, yeah, there's long-term storytelling here. This is going to take a while. It's a long burn. It got built in 1 week, and we never heard about it ever again after that Saudi show. That's what I mean by Saudi shows are this self-contained thing that doesn't have long-term effects. But sometimes wild shit happens at these Saudi events that impact our long-term storytelling. I made a TikTok a few weeks ago comparing the Saudi events to this alternate dimension a la Doctor Strange, where it's just an alternate universe, but then there's sometimes ripples in the fabric of the multiverse that bring things from one universe into the other. That's what happened when Goldberg defeated The Fiend, right? When Brock Lesnar ate the entire main event scene of the from the men's side. So sometimes wacky shit happens at Saudi events that comes over to this main continuity that impacts you and me as wrestling fans. That's what I don't want. If this is a self-contained event to try and make as much money as possible, to bring as much buzz to Saudi Arabia as possible, do everything you want. Put Roman in a bra and panties match. I don't care. Have it end that night. It's a wild example, but like what I'm saying is have it end that night. I don't need this event creating buzz or booking decisions beyond that night. That's listen, honestly my overall stance on Saudi events in general.
Listen, you and I both aren't the biggest fans, and we have talked to this at length over the last couple of years. Are you looking forward to this? Are you looking forward to Logan the Maverick Paul versus our tribal chief, the one Roman Reigns? Are you going to sit and happily watch this event?
Yes, I will. In a sense, like it's I'm not excited about it like I was with Extreme Rules, but you know, Steve, when there's a gruesome car accident, you just drive by it, or do you slow down and take a look to the right to see it? Right? You slow down. It's something you shouldn't look at. It's something, it shouldn't impact your day to day. You should just be driving past it, but yet you turn and look. That is called humans like to see the dumpster truck on fire rolling down a hill. And this is what it could be. Yes, this is a freak show. Logan Paul main eventing in a giant stage against our tribal chief Roman Reigns. This is a freak show. I'm in. I want to see what this is all about. I'm just generally curious how you take this. Do you make this a competitive match? Do you make this a full-on squash? Do you make the bloodline interfere to help the tribal chief against Logan Paul? right? Like
Well,
it's
just remember,
weird.
let me cancel that out for you. Jimmy and Jay won't be there.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy won't be there. Sammy's not allowed in Saudi Arabia. So it's Roman by himself versus, or as solo, but Roman and Solo, possibly Paul Heyman, against Logan, Jake, and like you said, potentially KSI. I do not discredit the idea of KSI being there as well.
Yeah, I mean, if the plan is this turns into a 1v3, 1v2, where now all of a sudden the tribal chief is somewhat of an underdog in this, okay, that's interesting. I just don't want this to lead to long-term storytelling. I don't want this to impact Monday Night Raw. I want this to start and end on the Saturday. That's it.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to go any further than this.
The exact same thing like we saw at Clash at the Castle with Tyson Fury. We knew Tyson Fury was going to be there. We knew he was going to be involved, but we've not heard from Tyson Fury since. And I'm completely fine with that. Tyson Fury did his job. If WWE does this right and we don't have to hear from Logan and Jake Paul again, except for like maybe a guest appearance on a backstage segment at WrestleMania, I'm completely fine with it.
The right match is Logan Paul versus Sami Zayn. Like the booking was already there. That's Logan
so
Paul's
good.
Logan Paul's initial appearances was that like conspiracy theory thing with Sami Zayn, and now he's with the Bloodline. Like that was your match. Sami Zayn is hot as hell. And
But
honestly,
unfortunately, he's not allowed.
I know. What I was gonna say is that like, you want to get Logan over, it's not with Roman, it's Sammy. Because Sammy can take a loss, and it doesn't matter. Sammy can take a loss.
Yeah.
And it won't impact him in any way, shape, or form. But against Roman Reigns, this only ends one way. As Paul Heyman would say, Steve, this isn't a prediction, this is a spoiler.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you, Santi. And really, I think they've missed the mark, but like you said, it's a big enough draw that it deserves Roman, I guess. And don't get me wrong, when we watched Logan, when was that? Was it SummerSlam?
SummerSlam against The Miz, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't terrible. He was athletic enough to show what he could do, but this is a different breed. Miz can sell. Is Roman really wanting to make Logan look good for 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. This is, like, if you go to a Harlem Globetrotters game, it's cute. It's fun. They're doing the ditzy doodles. They're doing the fun dunks, the shenanigans. The fans are into it. You don't put the Harlem Globetrotters against the Golden State Warriors, right?
No.
It's just not the same. Like, no one's saying the Harlem Globetrotters aren't a draw, that they aren't fun, that I don't want to see the Harlem Globetrotters. But when I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors, I want to see them against the best in the NBA, right? And that's what I'm talking about here with Roman. Logan, I think you're great for the business. A fantastic signing for WWE. There's so many cool things that they can do with Logan Paul. This one just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. That's all. That's where I'll leave it at.
Us hardcore fans, I think it just frustrates us because from Extreme Rules to Survivor Series, it's no disrespect to the Saudi events and the Saudi fans and all that kind of stuff, but it's unfortunate that we actually have to get this event because in North America, it's just not that over. And we want to see that long-term build to Survivor Series. And it's like the build to Survivor Series, even though we're slightly getting it, it's not being talked about until the Saudi event is over. Monday Night Raw after the Saudi event is when Survivor Series begins to get built, and that's only 3.5 weeks. And that's a lot to fit in, especially when you're revamping the entire Survivor Series card as a War Games, and you're going to have 2 full-fledged War Games matches on that card, that's 3 weeks of just jam-packed. So that's another reason it's so hard to just get around this Saudi event and this whole Logan Paul thing, because after he's gone, he's gone. So that, and like you said, that's where you're going to leave it. That's where I'm going to leave it. Santi, where can people find you?
You guys can find me over on twitch.tv/Santi's app, streaming 5 nights a week with the exception of Tuesday nights and Sunday nights. Aside from that, you can find me there from 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time all the way up to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link to that will be down in the description below. Steve, what about you?
Got some technical issues with my Twitch, so we'll cancel that out. Just find me on TikTok, guys, at TikTok at Mr. Teshk, and definitely go follow my Twitter, Twitter/Mr. Teshk. Guys, thank you so much for watching Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. Leave your comments below on what your opinions are, and we'll see you soon.
Like the video.
Yeah, that's
Cheers.
a good idea.